Hey mama, do you find yourself wishing you knew you were on the right path with your business? Or wanting to know how to do it all as a work-at-home mom and entrepreneur? If you struggle with imposter syndrome, mom guilt, or fear of failure, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Alexia, a Christian mindset coach, passionate about teaching moms how to renew their minds to find success both in business and motherhood. You can overcome the negative thoughts holding you back from fully stepping into your calling. I know what it's like to worry your business will never work, to feel mom guilt every time you work on your business, to realize your mindset is hindering you, but not knowing how to change it in a Christ-centered way. I created the Mom with a Calling podcast to teach you how to use the powerful combination of God's Word and proven mindset strategies to help you break free from negative, paralyzing thoughts and gain clarity and confidence to go where God is leading you. As you step out of the old way of thinking and into God's way, you'll find more peace, joy, and purpose. Pop in those earbuds and get ready to let God work in you so He can work through you. Hey there, and welcome back to the Mama with a Calling podcast. Happy August. This month marks the 3-year anniversary of this podcast. That is so crazy, but it's true. So I thought that it would be really valuable this month, this episode, and probably the next episode as well, to share with you what podcasting has done for my business and let you know if it's worth it. Because I know that some of you all have been thinking about podcasting, or you've already started, but you're wondering if it's actually worth it to continue to put the time and effort into it each week. So I'm going to share my thoughts with you on that today. But before I get into that, I wanted to make sure that you knew about the 2 one-on-one coaching spots that I now have open. I had 3, but I had somebody join. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about those because these spots are limited. So as your coach, I just want to talk a little bit about what it looks like to do coaching with me, because I think that a lot of you either have never had a coach, coaching might feel confusing, or you might think that coaching is something that it's actually not. So I want to kind of clear that up a little bit. So as your coach, I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. And that right there is probably going to be like, what? I wanted somebody to tell me what to do. But that is not what a coach does. That's what people call coaching kind of in the entrepreneur space. They say they're business coaches or whatever, and they're like telling you what to do. But that's really a consultant or a teacher, like a course creator, they teach you something. But a lot of times, I don't know if you've experienced this, but when somebody does that, it's actually really frustrating because they can tell you their ideas all day long. But if they don't know what God's actually saying to you, what God's called you to do, etc., at the end of the day, what they say may not fit. And so it can be really confusing. I've definitely been there, listened to a coach and just felt really frustrated and couldn't figure out why. And it's because they're asking me to do things their way. And while it's a fine way, it's just not the way God's calling me. So what I do as a coach is I will empower you to make your own business decisions with confidence, because God called you to be the owner of your business. He called you to run it. And so you have to get to a place where you understand what He's telling you, where you're supposed to go next, and make your own business decisions. So I will help you in that process, but I'm not going to say, okay, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to focus on. Here's who your niche is, your avatar is going to be. I'm not going to do that. And you might be saying, well, if I could already do all those things, then I would be doing it. But here's how I can help you change that. So my goal is to help you believe that you can hear God, that you already know what to do next, and that you were chosen to run this business for a reason. And as you break through the negative mindset blocks, as we work through those, you'll start to have more confidence with each and every decision and the action steps that you make as you're having these breakthroughs. So you might think that you want a coach that's going to tell you exactly what to do, but the truth is you already know what to do. You've taken the courses, you've read all the things about how to start your online business and all of that and scale it or whatever it is. The issue isn't knowledge. There's plenty of knowledge out there and probably already in your head. You probably already tried a bunch of these things. If you're honest, it's really that your emotions have gotten in the way. Right? Fear of success or fear of failure, fear of looking stupid if you fail at this, money mindset struggles, imposter syndrome, judgment from others, whatever it is. The list goes on and on. These are actually the real culprit here, because you might have the course out there on how to do something amazing. I don't know, you might have a course on how to start a YouTube channel, and you're like, yeah, I want to do this thing. But then there's all these fears about, looking stupid, or I'm going to not have anything to say, or whatever it is. And so you don't actually finish the course, and then you bounce to another idea and another idea and another idea, because those mindset blocks are actually the real reason you didn't complete them in the first place. Because honestly, all these courses probably work. I don't want to say they all work, because I don't know who you got them from. But in general, all these models work. Like, these business models all work. It's just about which one is going to work for you. So my heart as a coach is to give you the tools, accountability, strategies, and support along the way, so that these mindset shifts that you have truly come from inside of your brain. And they will then be long lasting as you continue your entrepreneurship journey. And as you gain confidence in your business and start to make progress, you'll be able to continue to have those mindset breakthroughs at each stage of your business, even long after you're finished working with me. So if you're ready to stop letting fears keep you from doing the work that God has called you to do, and you're ready to start experiencing the peace and joy of fully stepping into your calling, able to do the things He's asking you without letting those emotions drive you, then I would love to talk with you about how I can help you as your coach. Like I said, right now I have 2 spots available. This is an 8-week program. So in these 8 weeks, you're going to identify the real reason that you haven't made progress in your business so far. You're going to gain clarity on what's actually holding you back. You're going to start seeing things through a biblical perspective, so you can walk in truth and not in these worldly lies. And you're going to start to see results, because you're going to start taking spirit-led action in your business. So if you're interested, go to mamawithacalling.com/discovery call to book a free 30-minute discovery call, where we can just talk about your specific business, what you're wanting help with from a coach, your goals and coaching needs. And then I will let you know how I can help you. Or if I don't feel like I can help you, I'll let you know that as well. No pressure at all on that call. I would just love to connect with you if you're at all interested. Again, I'm going to put the link to book that discovery call in the description, but mamawithacalling.com/discovery call. I cannot wait to hear from you. Okay, so today I want to talk about, like I said, what I've learned over the past 3 years having a podcast. And I know that many of you have an interest in starting a podcast, or you've already got one. But with so many things going on in your life and business, is podcasting really worth it? I feel like that's a question we're always asking, right? Should we be doing all these things? So is podcasting really worth it? So I wanted to tell you my story a little bit and my journey in podcasting, how I got started, and then kind of go into what I've learned and the pros and cons and things like that. So when I first started in the online space, I actually was interested more in blogging, and I still want to do blogging, but I found that it wasn't as easy for me to do blogging, because I come from this scientific background and I cannot figure out how to write in a way that reflects my personality and doesn't sound dry. I've tried to write like I talk, but it just doesn't come across. I think there's a lot of inflection in my voice and things, and that just doesn't, I don't know, you can read written words however you want with whatever tone. So it just didn't land. It was also taking me forever to get my thoughts out and onto the page. I kind of am a verbal processor, and so it just was taking me probably 4 to 5 hours per blog post, and it just felt like it just wasn't going very fast. Now, like I said, I think blogging is amazing. I think it's very powerful. For me in that season, it just wasn't really where I wanted to be. And I felt like, I loved podcasting. I've always loved podcasting since the early days. And I've always loved listening to podcasts. And I used to dream like, oh, I want to do that. I want to have a podcast. I want to be able to help people like that, because I was getting so much out of podcasting, especially mindset stuff. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that's where I found, like, I dove into the mindset space, and I learned a lot about business, the way people think about business, marketing, what makes a successful business. I used to listen to podcasts. What was it called? So You Want to Know? Was it called something about being a millionaire. Like, it was like, this is a long time ago, but this was like me when I was driving back, commuting into work. It was to understand the thoughts behind what these people do when they go from idea to like this company. And I was like, whoa. So just like learning all about that kind of stuff. And so I loved podcasting, but I was afraid to actually do it. It was, like I said, I had this blogging course. But as time went on, I was like, I love podcasting so much. And I had been following Stefanie Gass. So I had found her at some point along the way, and she was talking about the power of podcasting. And I was starting to get convinced, and I was listening to her, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, I just wish that I could just book a 30-minute session with her and just get her to do these power sessions. Like, it was amazing hearing how she has like a gift in just like riffing off, what your description should be. And like, she's just really good at marketing. And as I was listening to her, I just thought it was so powerful. And she had this course, and it is called Podcast to Profit. No. Sorry. Podcast Pro University. Her Podcast to Profit's another program that I took, but Podcast Pro University, I wanted it so bad, but I kind of, wasn't sure. And then in 2020, I finally did it. I finally said, yes, I'm doing this. I was kind of in this mood of change because after, everything shut down and everything was crazy, I had actually went back to work for a brief season. I knew I wasn't going to work forever, but I just went for a contract position for like a few months. And when everything was shutting down, I had this like new fire under me that was like, no, like, I know how to make money online. This is ridiculous. God has given me gifts. Like, what am I doing in this stupid job? Those kinds of thoughts. And that's when I was like, okay, like, she was having a special on her course, and I was like, I'm doing it. And which was a crazy time to buy something like that, it feels like, but it was perfect. So I ended up doing that, and having her teach me how to do podcasting through that course made things go so much easier because the tech felt overwhelming. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it should be, shouldn't be, whatever. And so just having her step by step walk through that, it was very smooth. And later I ended up joining her Podcast to Profit program as well. And that really took my podcast to the next level. And I'll talk about that more here in a minute. So after I launched my podcast and practiced being consistent, it grew, but kind of slow. At first it is going to be slow because it's like momentum. So I went through my own season though of barely publishing episodes, and the numbers really did reflect that. That was probably 2021 into 2022. My grandmother she had cancer, and there's a lot of things that I just pulled away from the podcast pretty much. I still put out episodes, but just not as consistently. And in podcasting, consistency is important. The other thing is that I knew that my messaging wasn't consistent. What I basically was doing was, just sharing whatever was on my heart that God was giving me as I was either going through it myself or as I was seeing others go through things, and I had insight for coaching clients or, a friend, or I just realized something that would be really valuable for moms who are on this path. And, but I knew that I needed to lay that foundation again and make sure that my messaging was really clear. Like, I felt God, I just picked it back up in 2022. So in the last, about a year ago, actually, a little bit before that, I felt like God, because I had I went through a season where I had to learn to listen to God and learn to trust Him above any coach, above anything anybody else said. And then I was ready. So finally I felt like I was ready. So I, actually ended up learning how to officially offer my coaching services and all of that. That's when I joined Stefanie's P2P program. And through that program, I gained so much clarity on what my podcast was about, because I have all the ideas and all the things that I want to help people with. And I actually it was like weird. I wasn't focused on biblical mindset. That's what I was doing, but I wasn't calling it that. My podcast was like the focus that I said I was doing was helping people leave their jobs. But what I was actually doing is what I'm doing, which is biblical mindset coaching. So, and support in that area. And so I figured out what my podcast was about, what my offer was, and how to actually monetize the podcast. And every month since doing P2P, the podcast has grown 30%, like over the last month, like over and over each month. And I'm getting more coaching clients. It's just, I get feedback from people about how the episodes are reaching them, and inspiring them. And that's just such a gift when you guys do that, because I know there are so many people that listen that don't ever say a word. Like, I listen to tons of podcasts and I don't reach out to the person, and, but that doesn't mean that it didn't impact me. So for people to reach out is just such a gift. I feel like that's God's prompting to encourage me, just to give me that little, like, people are listening. So I want to talk about some of the pros of podcasting and some of the cons. So overall, I would say that the pros, which definitely outweigh the cons. But the pros are, podcasting is a great way to express yourself if writing is challenging, or if you just like to talk. I just find that it's really easy for me to just share what's on my heart, what's on my mind. And it just makes a lot of sense for the kind of content I'm talking about, because one of the things about blogging is you rely on SEO, search engine optimization, and people aren't Googling mindset stuff. But they will look up podcasts on the topic. So anyway, for me, talking about mindset, it made sense. Another thing is that it actually takes less time than blogging. Right now, I can go from idea, depending on the idea, but idea to fully publish and everything in about an hour and a half, where blogging was taking me a lot longer. This is obviously going to depend on your learning curve and stuff, but that's where I am now. Podcasting also doesn't require you to be put together for YouTube. I am recording this right now in my hair is all up, and it doesn't matter how I look, right? I'm not on a screen, though you totally can do that if you want to record your podcast that way. But you can just record it. There are plenty of people that record their podcast in their car or in a closet. It doesn't matter. So that's also one of the great things. It's easy to do at night as well. There's relatively low competition as well. So podcasting is fairly new on the scene as far as platforms go. Blogging, then YouTube, and then podcasting. And so that means there's low competition. Now, people are starting podcasts left and right, but it's still relatively low. It's a great option for coaches. If you are a coach and you're wanting to talk about mindset, you're wanting to talk about life coaching or anything that's motivational, encouraging, anything faith-based, those things are great options for podcasting. And the last one that I can think of is that people will often reach out, like I was saying that you guys do, and let you know how they're touched by an episode. So it's really nice to actually hear from your audience. I hear more from people as a podcaster than I did as a blogger. As a blogger, it's just so easy for you to end up, going to Google, looking for something, skimming through an article, not realizing you're on a blog or there's a person behind this. Or same thing about Pinterest. You end up on Pinterest, you click through to something, you don't realize you left Pinterest and now you're on someone's blog. It just feels like it's so distant. Whereas podcasting, it's a person, I'm talking to you, and I didn't put this on there, but this is true. You're so much more connected to the person, that your audience is more connected to you, because if they are spending the time to listen to your voice, it means something. They're more invested, and they are more likely to, they're connecting with you versus reading words on a page, right? So there's just a lot that goes into that. And I think it's really great for the marketing side as well. And the cons of podcasting, I would say it can be harder to convert listeners to clients than it would be from a blog or YouTube, because the person who's listening to a podcast might not be in a position to click anything. They might be driving, they might be working out, they might be, whatever they're doing, dishes, whatever. And so when it says go here to this website, they might, and people do, but it's just harder because a lot of the listeners are just listening. And then also SEO can be a little tricky, meaning learning what people are searching for and all of that. I think the SEO, at least as far as I know, an Apple Podcasts and things is kind of primitive still, in that we just don't know a lot about it. So that can feel like it's a little tricky. Oh, another positive is doing podcast interviews. Those are really great. I've got to meet people that I just don't know that I would have ever met any other way. And so that's really fun too. So overall, I really think podcasting is a great platform to get the message that God has given you out into the world. If you have any little inkling of doing podcasting, then I would love to encourage you to join or to check out a podcast boot camp that Stefanie Gass, so she is my podcast coach, right? She is holding this free boot camp, and this is actually similar to the one that I did a year ago that was amazing. Like the boot camp itself was so powerful. Like I had so many insights and so many like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And it was just really, really powerful. Like I wasn't looking to do any kind of podcast. I didn't know that's where God was leading me. And I was definitely like, okay, God, I'm doing this. And the people that I met in that program, it was amazing. And so again, this is a live 5-day challenge. And like I said, I've learned so much from her. I highly recommend even the free trainings because it's powerful. And the biggest thing that got me to, pick Stefanie to join her is I could tell that she was following the Spirit, that she was encouraging you to listen to God and put God first. Like that is so important to me, and it might be important to you too. And so I would definitely encourage you to check out the free one. So in this boot camp, she's going to be talking about how to make your podcast grow like way faster, how to make money from your podcast, how to sell one-to-many instead of like in the awkward DMs or like, I don't like when people friend me on Facebook and I'm like, are you a coach? Because I'm not going to friend you. I don't even know you. Anyway, that bothers me. 3 simple strategies to get more visibility on your podcast for free. And this is all happening the week of August 14th through the 18th. So just go to StefanieGass.com. It's Stefanie with an F. I'll put the link below. But StefanieGass.com/bootcamp to sign up. She's going to have door prizes. She has really fun energy. If you don't know her, she has really fun energy, and she's just really smart when it comes to podcasting and marketing. And she does giveaways. She's going to have lots of fun. She does fun stuff. So if you're ready to grow your podcast or start a podcast, then that bootcamp is one to definitely check out. So I hope that helps you kind of get an idea of if podcasting is worth it, if it's something you might be interested in. If you have any questions about podcasting, I'd be happy to answer those. If you want to come into the Facebook group, the Faith Driven Business Mamas Facebook group, I can put a link to that in the description as well. You can come in there, you can ask questions, you could DM me wherever you want to DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or email me at alexia@mamawithacalling.com. And I would be happy to answer any questions you have about it. And if you're interested in coaching, maybe you want coaching around this decision to start a podcast, the fear and all of that around that, I'll be happy to help you with that as well. I hope this episode was encouraging. I hope it was something that gives you more clarity on what God is calling you to do. And I will see you next time. In the meantime, keep pursuing your calling. Thanks for listening to the Mama with a Calling podcast. As always, you'll find the show notes for today's episode at mamawithacalling.com/podcast. Really quick before you head out, are you loving these episodes? To make sure this podcast gets in the ears of as many mamas as possible, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I'm going to be reading your reviews on the podcast, so I can't wait to hear from you. Also, if you know someone that needs to hear these episodes, grab a screenshot and share it on Instagram, and don't forget to tag me at Mama with a Calling so I can share it in my stories. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling.